Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're tracing a digital thread. We're going to start with your everyday, totally normal online footprint, and we're going to follow it all the way up to the massive, invisible data engines that are literally restructuring modern higher education. Let's explore exactly how our digital lives are being quantified and analyzed every single day. Think about how much data you generate just by being a student today. It is truly staggering when you finally look under the hood. So picture your typical morning. You log into your digital learning platform. You click on a syllabus, maybe you rewatch 3 minutes of a really tricky lecture module, or you just check a grade from last week. It feels like a completely solitary private moment, right? It's just you, your screen, and your coursework. You get in, you get out, and you probably don't think twice about the invisible mechanisms operating quietly in the background, capturing every single one of those interactions.
Well, now I want you to take that solitary little login and multiply it by tens of thousands of students across a modern university. The scale shifts instantly. It's no longer just a single click, it is a massive simultaneous wave of digital exhaust being generated every fraction of a second, 24 hours a day. Imagine all those individual actions, the pauses, the clicks, the downloads, happening in parallel across time zones, dorm rooms, and libraries. It creates this absolute ocean of activity that is fundamentally transforming what it means to actually attend school.
Section 1. The digital campus footprint.
Because look, these academic information systems and online learning platforms aren't just passively hosting your classes. They are meticulous, continuous record keepers. Every time you interact, you're building a highly granular digital footprint. And we are talking about incredibly specific tracking here. It's not just that you attended an online class, but the exact second you logged on and off. It's not just your final quiz results, but how long your cursor hovered over one option before you ultimately selected another. Your specific study durations on a single reading assignment, your interaction patterns within a discussion forum, it's all captured. Every individual hesitation, success, and late-night study session is turned into a permanent, quantifiable data point. This is exactly how a modern university begins to digitally map its student body.
Moving on to Section 2. What is big data?
When we pivot from those individual everyday actions and zoom out to the macro level, we encounter the engine driving this entire system. We hit big data. Now, this isn't just a large amount of information stored on a dusty hard drive somewhere. It is a massive, incredibly fast-moving accumulation of data originating from highly diverse digital sources. Think of it as the difference between a traditional filing cabinet and a rushing river of information. In the past, academic data was kind of static, end of semester grades or physical attendance sheets. But today, this rushing river is constantly flowing with real-time analytics. The sheer volume, the rapid speed of collection, and the crazy variety of sources all blend together to completely change how educational institutions have to operate and process information.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 5 V's framework. So to actually organize and make sense of this potentially chaotic river of information, we look to the research of Stair and Reynolds from 2020. They provide a framework that acts as an essential organizing checklist to help institutions actually comprehend their own data. First up is volume. This is the sheer magnitude, the literal terabytes of server data a university accumulates every single semester from thousands of students. Second is velocity. This is the reality that a learning platform has to process thousands of quiz submissions, video streams, and forum posts in real time without the whole system crashing. Third is variety. This means making sense of radically different data types, from structured multiple choice scores in a gradebook to completely unstructured, open-ended discussion forum posts or video uploads. Fourth, we have veracity. This is the absolutely crucial task of ensuring that the data gathered is actually an accurate reflection of student learning and not just a system glitch or, an idle open tab while you're making lunch. And finally, value. The ultimate goal of turning all of this raw, overwhelming digital noise into actionable strategic insights that can actually improve the educational experience.
Section 4. Managing strategic complexity.
Now, why does a modern institution actually care about these specific dimensions? Well, because, as Stair and Reynolds point out, this framework defines the core strategic challenge of managing digital complexity. These aren't just vocabulary words for a pop quiz. They represent massive operational hurdles. If a university cannot manage velocity, for example, their primary learning management systems might crash right in the middle of finals week when traffic spikes. A total nightmare, right? If they ignore veracity, administrators might make terrible policy decisions, like cutting funding to a program based on totally flawed or incomplete student engagement data. The real fundamental challenge for any institution today is building the robust infrastructure and the analytical capability required to actually harness this complexity. It is all about transforming a chaotic flood of data points into a clear strategic advantage.
So every time you log in, you are an active participant in this massive, fast-moving ecosystem. Your digital footprint is a vital part of the volume, the velocity, and the variety that defines modern education. But as educational institutions become increasingly sophisticated at managing this strategic complexity, here is the real question I want you to walk away with today. How will this massive accumulation of data ultimately bring value to the future of your education? Will this incredibly detailed mapping of your learning habits lead to hyper-personalized curriculums tailored exactly to how you learn best, or will it just be used for streamlined administrative efficiency? Keep your own personal stake in this vast digital architecture in mind the very next time you log into class.